Hey Seekers, and welcome back. I'm your host Julienne Irons, and today we're beginning a brand new theme on the show, love and relationships. And y'all, we're starting this arc with a question many people are asking right now, but often struggling to answer. What does healthy masculinity actually look like inside a relationship? So for years, we've heard conversations about emotional unavailability, toxic masculinity, and the patterns that leave partners feeling unseen, unsafe, or disconnected. But naming what doesn't work is only part of the story. The deeper questions are, what does it look like when love actually feels safe? What about when strength shows up as presence instead of control? And when does devotion become the foundation of a partnership? Today we're exploring those questions and more through the practical lens. Our guest today is Mike Elliott, a relational guide who works with men and couples to rebuild trust, repair nervous system safety, and redefine masculine strength through accountability, presence, and devotion. In this conversation, we'll explore what devotion really means in relationship, why nervous system safety matters for intimacy, and what healthy masculine leadership looks like in everyday life. This is Perspective Shifts for Healing with the Hanged Woman, where perspective is power. Let's get into it. Hey Seekers, if you're building a business and something feels off, like you're doing all the right things, but the momentum still isn't there, it might not just be a strategy problem. At 3 of Cups Healing, we offer intuitive marketing solutions using tarot, energy healing, and heart-centered creative guidance. Because the way you feel in your business shapes how you show up, how you make decisions, and how you grow. We help emerging business owners turn inner alignment into outward momentum, so your business can grow with more ease, clarity, and intention. Seekers, if you're ready to build your business in a way that actually feels supportive, book a free consultation with us at 3ofcupshealing.com. Your vision, your magic. Let's make it real. Together. That's 3ofcupshealing.com. And now, back to the episode. Mike Elliott, you are one of 3 men that I've had on the show so far, and that must mean you are very special. So, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here. Why don't we start with you just telling us a little bit about yourself and how you came to the work that you do?
Yeah, God, such a blessing to be here. Especially hearing that there's only been 3 men.
Three of y'all. That's it.
So blessed, such an honor. And just want to highlight that even more. It's always an honor to be trusted by the feminine to bring in topics like this, the relationship, and it's just because I know there's been a lot of hurt for a lot of women in relationship to the masculine.
When we had our first preliminary meeting, I could already feel the energy from you was like, whew, calming rather than forceful, and it felt really safe. And that's something that's really important for me, not just as like an individual, but for the community that's a part of this show, you know?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so what got me into this work, for those of you that are new to me, which might be a lot of you, the work that I do started off with the title of relationship coach, and now I fall under more relational leadership, because relationship's one thing, and in most of the relationship world, that can be communication skills, and which is great. That's a part of it. And I like to go really deep. I'm like looking at generational imprinting, developmental trauma that's impacting current day dynamics. How I got into it is I have been the biggest screw up in relationship. I have made so many mistakes, failed relationships, divorced, and it's been the biggest pain point of my life. And there's a reason for that. In the first year of my life, I was adopted twice, separated from my biological mother on the first day of entering the world, which is now, in the awareness that I have, the ultimate severance for any human being. Separated from mother, that biological attachment point. And then again, another adoption at 14 months. So that's created a mess of insecurities, abandonment wounding, and I was completely oblivious to this I didn't have a lot of great orientation around that level of impact and sensitivity that happened to me in the family I grew up with. And so what that then ended up looking like is found ways to cope from a very underdeveloped brain. So I isolated a lot through elementary and high school because I couldn't cope with all of my inadequacies and fears. And I isolated and I doubled down and I learned sports really, like I got really good at doing things on my own, but then it was lonely. And then it led to, wait a minute, I want to be in partnership. I like women. And when I was 16, I became a lifeguard and was awakened to, oh, wait a minute, women like me. I like this. And I became that douchebag, and maybe too vulgar of a term, but I became that prick that completely unaware, not intentional, but I attracted really high quality women, gorgeous, loving, doting, committed, and it would scare the hell out of me. And about 4 months in, predictably, I'd leave. I'd end the relationship before I got hurt because I was scared. I didn't know that. I just would follow the next exciting thing. And then it happened and it happened and it happened. And then, oh no, this sucks. Like I'm not getting to experience long-term relationship. And so when I was in my early 20s, I made a decision. I'm going to attract a partner and I'm going to commit. I have to work through this stuff. And so I met someone who ended up becoming my wife. We were together for 7 years. And it was amazing in the beginning. Fireworks, we were the best friends. People used to make comments like, oh, you're going to give me diabetes. You guys are so sweet. And
Mm.
then that went away. Things fell flat. It wasn't so great. I didn't understand why the fireworks had gone away, and I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't have the conditioning to reach out for help or support. And so I did what most men are doing in present day. I started to numb all of that inadequacy out through porn, through watching Netflix specials every night in my theater room. I I just started checking out. I didn't understand that terminology. I didn't understand what numbing out was. I couldn't cope with not being able to do relationship well. I was convinced and I had these beliefs of nothing I ever do will be good enough for her, even though it was. It, like when I reflected back after the divorce, she did love me. She was pouring it on, but I couldn't receive it. It was enabling parts of me that just felt broken and worthless, to be honest. And then when the divorce happened, that's a whole nother story and how that happened. But that's the thing that brought me to my knees. That was the dark night of the soul for me. And then I just made a decision. I have to do something about this. This isn't anyone's fault. This is my sacred right and responsibility to make sense of whatever happened to me in this life so that I can have long lasting love. That's what set me on the course
Wow.
is messing it up so many damn times. And then slow learner at 30 decided, wait, obviously I suck at this, so I need to learn from somebody who doesn't.
You often talk about devotion as a form of masculine strength, which feels like a foreign concept to me. So, what does devotion mean to you in the context of romantic partnership?
I think what we're used to, first of all, is the opposite of devotion, and it's commitment in a very in the moment kind of thing. Like when I think of culturally, there's this example of marriage that I've seen most of my life, and that is the couple that commits. They get married and then they just stay together because they made the commitment at the beginning. Whereas devotion is, for me, something that has more depth to it. It's more spiritual, it's more mature, there's nuances in it. For me, devotion is choosing to go all in on something regardless of the fear. Fear is going to show up. But think of anything that we do that's really hard. We devote to it. Anything of success that we experience is from the energy of devotion. We had to stick to the thing. We had to go through all those hard moments, the parts where we were freaking out. And when we were freaking out too bad, well, we got a coach, a mentor, a teacher, a friend, someone to help us through those places. And then we get to reap the rewards of the success, of the what I call juiciness of the experience. The juiciness of the relationship is a byproduct of devotion. There's a lot of men right now that don't even have that awareness because they haven't been initiated. They haven't been brought through the fire and handed down the wisdom from elders through the medium of brotherhood, through other men, to wake them up to that truth that they do know inside deep down once they find it, once they're in proximity to it. Devotion is committing all in to something until there's an experience of its fruition. And what another layer to devotion is, this is how I see it. I think that and this isn't totally gender specific for anyone listening who orients differently, find yourself in this. I'm just going to talk about my orientation. I'm in a heterosexual marriage. I identify as masculine and my wife is a female, feminine. I believe that feminine energy is the energy of claiming. And this represents everywhere in nature. The woman decides. The one that has the womb decides whether she will be courted or not. And I think that's the same for the human species. The woman gets to decide based off of the wisdom, the intuition that she has that is connected to her womb, claims her partner, claims the person to devote to her. Then it's the masculine's role to devote to that. If there's that alignment, that's the exchange. The feminine claims and says, I will be on this journey to soften and open up to you in your power. And in reciprocity, I need to feel you devote to me fully. Focus your energy on getting to know me and receive the gifts that I will offer you and penetrate life with them. And then together we will be better.
Whew, that really opened something up in me because it gave me a sense of freedom. It's like, oh, like somebody actually sees us. Like somebody sees our power and our beauty and does not want to take control of it or does not want to diminish it, but wants it to flourish. That's really empowering, especially now with everything that's going on in the world, you know? Can we go a little bit deeper into how devotion is different from the more traditional ideas of masculinity that many of us grew up seeing? Is there more that we can expand on with that?
A byproduct of culture. I really see it as a cultural thing. No one's to blame. No one's bad. No one's wrong. But there has been an impact of culture. We've come from the Industrial Revolution. We've come from this place of the Rockefellers creating a school system that, in my belief, separates people from their soul. It feeds the intellect too soon in the healthy evolution of development, which stunts how the brain functions, and it separates a bit of that connection to the heart and the wisdom of the physiology. It makes no sense why kids are sitting still in classrooms when up until 7, they're only supposed to be moving their body and exploring the sensation of life. Then at 7, introducing the intellect, but then following their rhythm, their pace, their time, not inundating with it. And so there's been this cultural impact, men being sent off to war when they're teenagers. There's just been so much harm as a byproduct of the patriarch. And some might be wondering, well, what is the patriarch actually? Patriarch is masculine energy that is disconnected from nature.
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard it described in that way.
Yeah. Masculine energy disconnected from nature. So it misattunes. Its energy of dominance it's on a mission to create and to build something, but it doesn't have the feminine wisdom and attunement to, wait a minute, at what pace should we be building this? Are we doing this in right relationship to the land? Are we, like, what's the motivating factors of building this? If this is this for profit, or is this in service to humanity? When there's the union of the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, that is a byproduct of that external relationship, when that's on board, we don't have patriarch. We have full integrated, what I call initiated man. Mature man is another way that you could describe it. The divine masculine. The divine masculine simply is a man who is connected to his feminine, is connected to the feminine within, which then makes him able to offer over the reverence to the feminine he has in his life. And again, not gender specific, but the feminine essence that represents that role, the polarity. When that's happening, we experience the beauty of life, of what can be created that's in service to everyone. But the patriarch is not that. And so many of us were developed in the medium, in the energy, in the ecosystem of the patriarch. So we were all paying the price. We all know the impact, how this expresses. You named it. God, you haven't been in a relationship in 13 years. Well, of course. There's been so much damn hurt. There's been loss. And then where is the holding? Where is the providership, the protection for you to move through those waves and those emotions? And if I miss a tuning, interject.
No, it's true. I don't feel safe to move through those things. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when we don't have those relational ingredients, because we're relational beings, if we don't have that, we can't integrate the overwhelm of the sensitivity of the challenges of life. If we can't move through it, if we don't go through it, we don't grow through it. So then that creates stunted parts of our experience where we don't move towards connection. We don't ask for help. And then we do what our culture teaches, is we double down on, I got to figure this out on my own, because we get rewards and accolades on figuring things out on our own. Started from the bottom, now we're here. And then like everyone cheers, and it's like, well, if that's not actually a fully healthy, integrated human being, that's not something to celebrate. Yes, it feels good to be in independence, and it's a part of being a healthy adult. But mature masculinity is not celebrating that I'm doing this on my own. That's not actually a full, true perspective. No one does anything on their own. If you go back and look at the data, oh yeah, you read books, you found mentors, you watched other people that did the thing that inspired you to then practice something. Like we are always impacting and influencing and inspiring each other. And it's our responsibility to recognize that and care about that and be in reverence of that. The divine masculinity, or mature masculinity, this energy of devotion that we're describing, is devoting to the reconciliation of our internal relationship to nature. That's the deeper aspect. A man who is in the practice of being in reverence to the feminine is a man that is practicing devotion. And what I mean by that is devotion to the reverence of nature, Pachamama, the great mother, the earth, the tangible, the material, the what's down here, the earth. Building a relationship to the beauty and the sweetness that is the earth, this rock that's hurling through outer space. It makes no sense that so far we're the only planet that we're aware of infinite galaxies that has human life. How fucking spiritual is that? Like, how many of us aren't really taking that in? Wait a minute. Let's just really think about that for a second and be in the care of this thing that is providing this experience that is pretty unique. So being in the care of that, being in care of the creatures that surround our ecosystem where we build our cities, the relationship to the water, all the healthy indigenous cultures that are still experiencing feelings of happiness and belonging, they're all connected to the knowing of this. I can't remember the exact tribe, but there's a tribe that is still very much connected to their indigenous wisdoms and teachings, and it's passed down generation to generation. They call us up here in North America little brother. They're big brother and we're little brother. And what they're speaking to is our level of consciousness. That doesn't make us less than, it's just what is. But there's a place where we're not actually listening to what nature is saying. We're not in the care of it. And then how this translates is you go into the home and it's no different. Men not really connected to their own lived experience, their own heart, what they haven't processed from their childhood that's impacting their behaviors, where they are actually a little boy in a man's body. They can't offer the presence to their partner. The partner's pissed about it. They're reflecting that back, but they don't know what to do about it. So they make it about her. She's crazy and emotional and rational. And then they numb out. They self-soothe in whatever way. And then there's this disconnect from the biological nature of what a relationship is supposed to be in the home. It's just representative of what's happening outside. And so if we can see that, we can understand what you named earlier is where you felt it deep in your soul. If we devote the relationship to nature itself, we become more well.
Yeah. It reminds me of this whole like male loneliness epidemic thing. And it's like, are men lonely because they aren't connecting to nature in the way that women are? And because of that, they're disconnected from us. And that's why we have this epidemic, this thing we call the male loneliness epidemic happening right now.
It's interesting because in my world, in my consciousness, in my lived experience, I live on the side of a mountain far away from civilization, really, and like an hour away from our major city. But in my perspective, in the world that I've created, I don't see male loneliness in the way that it's being experienced out there because of the work, because of me going through so many initiations. And yes, I have moments where I don't got it and I mess up and I fall asleep is what I call it.
But that's the human experience, though.
That's the human experience.
Yeah. Can't escape that.
Yeah. And then
Right?
when I leave where we live and I drive to other major cities, it's palpable.
Yeah.
And when I have, I work with very high functioning, high performing men, and they have way more success in most cases than I do. Multi-millions, multiple properties on paper, like, whoo, they've got it figured out. And then why they come to me is they feel completely disconnected, broken, lost, and alone inside. And what I help them reconnect to is their heart, their feelings, the places where they haven't felt the freedom of presence so they can integrate their already lived experience because they're disconnected from a biological truth. Every man needs to be connected to brotherhood. Brotherhood is a biological truth. We are one of those species. If you look at it, men are meant to gather in packs because that's what refines our capacity. That's what gives us the part for us to move the testosterone and then also be in the same space to share the vulnerabilities, the weaknesses that women don't understand. When a man is sitting in circle with other men and shares and expresses his heart, what he gets feedback on is, oh, I'm not alone. Oh my God, that guy who's so powerful and strong, that guy's badass, but he struggles too. That's the experience we need to have regularly as men for us to be initiated into, oh, vulnerability is not my weakness. Vulnerability is my deepest strength. When I'm in regular proximity to other men where that part of me can be here. If we disconnect from that, which is, when I look at the male loneliness epidemic, what they're choosing instead is all these coping strategies to try to replace the feelings of soothing and safety and belonging. If we look at marijuana is the replacement of mother. If we look at the symptoms of what it does, hey man, it's just like everything's cool, man. Like we don't need to worry about it.
Feel like a nice
And
warm
oh
hug.
yeah, let's
Feel so
just like feel
cozy.
feel our bellies with all the munchies and oh, it's
Right.
just so good. And like whatever.
Mm.
And what is the good
Wow.
mother energy is that.
Mm.
And you can see it with little boys with a present good mother energy. Mama, what she does is the little kid goes off into the world, comes back, and then mama scoops them up. And then they get to grab mama's nipples for the soothing of that. And then they smell her
Yeah.
sweetness and get all the little kisses. And then that kid will be brought back into, hey man, it's all good. Like, oh,
Mm.
I'm good. I'm okay.
It's
That's
just like
that's
so
why
cool, the connection between marijuana and mother. Like, what? Makes so much sense.
yes. It's this, everything we're moving towards, all the dysfunctional behaviors that we have are for the feeling we're looking for.
Right.
It's easier to choose marijuana because most people got mother wound shit going on.
Yeah.
But then in a hyper individualist culture, well, I'll use the medicine that'll give me the feeling, and then I don't have to take the risk of bringing this part of me to the feminine who might criticize me, reject me. Marijuana doesn't reject every time. 100% success. I'm going to get that feel good, soothing comfort. I'm going to get that sweet milk, the kisses on the forehead every time. Every time you spark a joint, you're going to get that. And then we look at other things. It's like the die off and the feeling like, that feeling men love of ejaculation. Well, pornography to get the status. There's so many ways where men have learned to soothe the biological need we all have in ways that are very disconnected. And then men from an underdeveloped brain feel so much shame about all those behaviors, and then they hide all of that. And then because they're hiding all of that, they're moving out of integrity with their soul. And then that creates even more severance. And then the symptoms compound one after another. Like when I'm working with men that are high functioning, one of the first things we do is we move through the first pillar of my work, which is initiation, is we go into the shadows. We go expose everything hidden in the closets to liberate that man from all the places he is preventing himself from being in his power because he's hiding. People feel when a man's hiding. It's not attractive. And then they will try to overcompensate for all that hiding. And then what do? They overaccomplish, they push, they grind, to try to create a big enough example of how amazing that man is and how much I do got it and I don't need anyone. But then that's the thing that's just double downing on what's happening inside. It's disconnection.
You talk about shifting from dominance to presence. What does that shift actually look like in everyday relationships?
Mm. Well, I'll let you know how the dominance shows up in my everyday relationship. It's the part of me when I get triggered and I want to control the situation. I want to get away from, like Courtney's my partner. I want to get away from her emotions unless they're really great and enjoyable. It's the part of me that wants to get away from that. It's the part of me that wants to control whatever my son's doing that's triggering the agitation or the discomfort or the inconvenience in me. It's the part that is primal. When I think of dominance, I think of the reptilian brain. I think of the part of us that's an animal. Every man has inside of them a wild man, an animal, one that is scary, one that is dangerous when it's fully online and disconnected from the higher part of ourselves. That's the dominance. Presence. Presence is the man who's in the driver's seat of his experience and knows that he has this primal part, and he's in the forever practice of making sure that wild man's in the passenger seat in service to his mission. So yeah, man, I'll give you the job. You're not meant to drive. When you drive, like the primal part of us is disconnected from the divine. And another way of looking at this is the ego. And think of it in this way. The ego is the part of us. It's that inner narrator with the clipboard that has an opinion about everything we do and experience. That's not who we are. We're the one watching that. If you can watch the thought, if you can watch the feeling, if you can see the behavior, you're the one watching it.
Right. We're the observer.
We're the observer. but we can fall asleep to that. And so then the ego, the primal part, grabs the seat. And this is in everyday relationship. This is where we are just verbally processing for hours, just emotionally beating each other up. It's not getting anywhere helpful. It's the part of us that gets reactive. It's a part of us that withdraws. If we go into the wise part of our brain, which I call the wise adults, the prefrontal cortex, there's more nuance to it, but it's when our brain's in coherence, we have bigger perspective. We can see, wait a minute, that behavior doesn't make sense to what I'm actually wanting in the relationship, which is I want to feel good. I want us to be both enjoying ourselves. I want us to be in the juice. Well, these behaviors aren't going to lead to that, but then we still end up doing that because we fall asleep. So going back to the presence piece, presence is knowing I have to contain that dude in the passenger seat that keeps wanting to drive. It's like having a 3-year-old in the driver's seat. That's terrifying. We don't want that to happen. There's just no impulse control. They're like, woo, yeah, let's go. A present man is a man that is in the daily practice of containing that part of himself, and then choosing the moments to bring the wild man online because there's evidence that it's going to do a really good job. So if I train the part of me that is unpredictable and it starts to trust me, it has less leverage on the parts that are irrational and not going to lead to what I want. Then I can discern, hey, ego, guess what? I'm about to go on stage. This would be the moment, show up. The personality, the charisma, my human personal experience. I want that to be a part of what I'm delivering because that will be in service to the mission. That'll be the thing that connects to other people, that makes me relatable. We don't want to get rid of our ego or that primal part, but we have to train it. You have to train it to respect our direction. And so presence is the experience of us being contained and in touch with our felt sense in our body, in right relationship to our thoughts. Are they in service to what we are wanting to create or who we're wanting to become? And are we in right relationship to our emotion? And are we in right relationship to our spiritual experience? If we are, well, we are in what I call gentle power. We are able to respond instead of react. Presence is the ability to respond instead of react. Dominance is power over. It's the patriarch. It's disconnected from nature.
In your work with men, what patterns do you see most often that create distance or disconnection in relationships?
I'd say there's 3 things. First one is hiding. Second one is reactivity. And the third one is blame. A lot of men are really sitting in the belief that the pain they're experiencing is to do with their partner. They're convinced. They actually believe it. They actually believe in their world. If you were to ask questions, when I ask these men these questions in the beginning, when they're sitting on a discovery call, tell me about your relationship. Some of them, they're still married and they're trying to save it. It's usually when men find me, they're saying that they're going to end the marriage, and then that's their wake up call. And other men, it was too late and they did get the divorce and they don't want to have to go through a 4th divorce. And so then they find me and like, help, I don't know what I'm doing. But I would like men to find this work sooner while things are still savable. And the first thing that men need to understand is that if you are sitting in the belief that there's something wrong with your partner, that's the problem. That's what's creating the dysfunction. That's why she's pissed. That's why she's critical. That's why she's nagging or doing whatever it is that you're not enjoying. It's not reverence for the feminine. And yes, there's work on her side too. But there's a lot of men that are hiding all the ways they're self-soothing, the pain and the discomfort of not getting their emotional needs met from the partnership. So they hide that. And then they blame her for it. And then criticize her for it. And then they just keep living out the loneliness and being reactive because that isn't in healthy right order. Our nature is to be in reverence of the feminine. But if we're not in reverence, we're in reactivity. And then we're in victim consciousness. We're in victim consciousness, all of us, we attract shitty situations. When we're in that little self.
Okay, Seekers, I think this is a really great place to take a break. We'll be right back with the episode. Here's a perspective shift. Your business doesn't need more pushing. It needs alignment. At 3 of Cups Healing, we offer intuitive marketing solutions using tarot, energy healing, and heart-centered creative guidance. We help emerging business owners turn clarity into momentum and vision into action. So, Seekers, if you're ready to grow your business with more intention and ease, book a free consultation with us at 3ofcupshealing.com. Your vision, your magic. Let's make it real. Together. That's 3ofcupshealing.com. And now, back to the episode.
So I understand that healing is not linear, but when men begin doing this work, what do you think is the first shift that usually starts to change how they show up with their partner?
The first shift that happens with men that I work with is once they start to drop from their head to their heart and allow themselves to feel their feelings in a relationship where it is safe, that gives them more capacity to now then go hold space for their partner's emotions. And once they are able to do that, that's where they start to experience how delicious it is to be able to provide what the woman is wanting. And when he can go into his own heart and feelings, well, now it's not so scary to go be with hers. We can't offer what we don't already experience inside of ourselves. We just can't do it. But that's the first breakthrough.
Yeah, wow. So on the show, we talk about nervous system regulation a lot. It pretty much comes up in every single theme. It doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether it's past lives or the mother wound. You speak a lot about nervous system safety in relationships. So why is the nervous system such an important part of intimacy?
It's the software that drives this thing. This meat suit that we're walking around in is driven by a nervous system. It's got all this programming to keep us safe. When we go back to the animal times where it was, carrying fire to different locations and having to protect ourselves from damn tigers and real things, like real shit. Like we don't really have those animal fears and terrors anymore. We've got, human created ones like war and all that. So this primal part of us is something we can't get away from. It's the thing that prevents us from getting the thing we want. So if we think about this in relationship, so many of us want juicy relationships. We want to thrive in it. We know deep down in our physiology, in our heart of hearts, we know that it'll be really good for us. But the thing that prevents us from doing it well is our nervous system. It's the thing that all of a sudden we're having a hard conversation. My partner's only sharing her feelings and her thoughts. Yeah, what happens? Our nervous system goes, whoa, my belly contracts. Whoa, I'm literally wanting to run away. Whoa, I'm wanting to defend or deflect or pull out all the things she's wrong. Our nervous system's doing that. It's the thing that's trying to protect us from the perceived threat. And so we got to know how the thing works so that we can be in right relationship with it and help it build a sense of safety from the inside. Because if we don't do that work, then we will project out all of the discomfort that we're experiencing in our body and we make it about the other person. And then we just live at a low level of consciousness. And this might be a good point to name. There's 3 levels of relational consciousness, and we can't bypass it. We have to go through the healthy right order of this. First level of relational consciousness is me consciousness. The second is you me consciousness. And the third is we consciousness. We all have to start out in the me. This is what I like. This is what I want. And if we go back, that's a baby. Baby is 100% dependent. It doesn't give a shit what's going on for mom or dad. It's just feed me. I'm I'm uncomfortable. Like, just I'm going to express with everything that I got until my needs met. That's the me consciousness. You me consciousness is kind of when we start moving into toddlerhood in healthy right order. Then it's the part that says, oh, wait, mom is not me. Mom's separate than me. Oh, and then it's the part that starts to negotiate needs. Hey, I'm here with you, sweetie, and mom's got to do this thing. And so mom's going to do this thing. And then when I'm done this thing, I'll come back and I'll connect with you and we're going to do the thing that you want to do. And then if that all goes really well, then we evolve into we consciousness. We consciousness is the part of us that understands we're connected to everything and all things. And that the more we attune to that, the more we are in right relationship to that, we're always trying to figure out how to be in service to it, knowing that it will be in our enlightened self-interest, which means it's going to meet my needs. If I'm really caring about what's happening out there, giving what I have to give from in here, it will feed more of what I want in here. That's the we consciousness. It's not separate from anything. It's not that it doesn't want to fight, or it's just, hey, let's figure out how to create the most connection and coherence. So going back to the nervous system, if we understand that that just is the evolution, we can start to get curious when we're in the me consciousness. No, this is what I'm doing, and I don't give a shit what you think about it. That's how it shows up in a relationship. And that's the part that hides because it's not considering other. So all the behaviors, the cheating, that's all me consciousness. In the work that I do, it gives me a lot of information of how old that person is in their functioning, in their behavior. So then it brings me back to the history we've got to go integrate. Oh, you're actually acting like a 1-year-old. Okay, something happened when you were 1. We got to go back and scoop that little dude up because he is making a mess in your adult life. We have to still go through whatever those needs were back then. That's the trip. The trip is we have to go back and have a relational experience of the things that we needed in the beginning for us to grow up. If we don't get them, we stay stuck in that part of our development. If we can do that, if we can honor our nervous system and understand it's always telling a story, our behaviors, our body language, it's saying the story of what happened. That's why it's such a gift. It's not a problem. Being dysregulated isn't the problem. It's, hey, let's get curious of what it's saying. Oh my God, all of a sudden you just started shaking and shattering and crying. What's going on? Let's get curious to figure out how we can bring some love and care for you to move through whatever that is. And then once it moves through, feel the heal. Once you feel that, once you heal that, guess what? Graduate. Not a 1-year-old anymore. Now you're 3. And then you hit the next thing that didn't integrate. And then now you're 7. Now you hit the next thing that you didn't integrate. So the nervous system is everything because it's the thing telling the untold story. Trauma is stored in the nervous system. Trauma is stuck energy in the body. Trauma is the feelings and the sensations in ourselves that prevent us from connecting. So we got to get to know it because it's the thing that's trying to liberate us into our potential. But if we keep pushing against it or trying to fight it, it makes things worse. And I think we all know that. It's like the more you fixate on the fear or the more you worry, the more the fear amps. It's like the worry is the thing feeding the worry. And now I'm worrying about worrying. I know that happens for me. I'm like, oh no, I'm not attracting what I want. I'm in worry. So I don't know. I'm going to have all these shitty experiences. And then we got to get to know what is helpful to build in capacity in our nervous system. And this is where we go into regulation. Regulation is building the range of experience where fear can be here, sadness can be here, grief can be here. Whoa, my partner pissed at me can be here. Super uncomfortable, but I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to disconnect. I'm going to stay connected. Trauma's MO is disconnection. But health and presence is I am going to be present with this and stay. And if we do, then we create more strength, more courage, more availability. And that's what we all want.
Yeah. So instead of running away from the worry or the anxiety or the fear, it's like, I'm going to sit with this and figure out where this comes from, and I'm going to integrate it, and then I can move on. Otherwise, it's going to keep running the show.
It's going to keep running the show. And then the sad part about this is if we keep doing that, if we let it run the show, we prevent the experience of bringing our deepest medicine to the world, because this is the ultimate truth. And for you that are listening, you can really tune into this. Think of the thing you're the most afraid of. You're the most twisted and turned up inside out on inside of you. The deepest wound that you carry is your deepest medicine to the world. Your deepest wound is actually your deepest medicine to the world. And to help that make sense and land deeper is because it's your sacred responsibility to learn how to move through it and overcome it. And then when you do, think of all the greats. If you do overcome it, now you can help other people that are still down in the well, that are still stuck in that dark place. But you can't help them if you haven't gotten yourself out of it and through that pain and through that loss. But then now when you have, you are so valuable to humanity, because there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people with that same problem, with that same suffering. And now you get to be present with them because you've already gone through it. The saying that I say with my clients so often when they're in the part of, oh no, I messed up. Oh no, I've gone backwards. Oh no, I did the thing. I'm like, oh man, of course you did. Years and years and years of this pattern being there. It's so easy to love you here. Every time that fall happens, it's so easy to love you here. It's the sentence I bring in every time, because that's the grace that comes into the place that's wounded. It's going to take time. And if we bring that love into all of those places, it refines into medicine. It refines into a message. It refines into inspiration. It refines into a story that can be shared, where we can hold it together, that someone else can place themselves in. And that's what gives them hope. That's what helps them build trust. If they can do it, God, like I'm a ex-plumber gas fitter, and now I help people in the realm of sacred relationship. What the fuck? That makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense to me. We went from fixing one thing to fixing another. Like, come on.
Yeah. But the crawling out of the hole of those early adoptions has become my greatest medicine to the world, because I'm the most sensitive dude that I know. I've had to build strength and courage to go into my own heart and process all that material. And now it's easy to love other people in their mess, because it's like, oh man, totally. Yeah, you did that. Yeah. And it's just easy to be present with whatever it is they want to expose, because it's got nothing on all the darkness I've had to go through.
With the father wounds theme, we had an astrologer come on, and she literally just said exactly what you said. And it's so cohesive and in alignment. Your chart is the way it is because your higher self, your soul, came to this planet to build the muscle in order to help other people with this situation. And we're just coming off the father wound. Dude, this is so good.
Can I add another layer to that?
Please. Yeah.
Is yes, that's true. And to bring that down into the body even more is look at how much the moon, we'll just use the one that we see with our eyes the most. Look at how much the moon impacts the world, pulls the tide in and out. The immensity of the ocean is pulled in and out based off of where the moon is. So think of all the planets behind that and the influence of energy that they have on our experience down here. When we look at astrology, a lot of people think it's woo-woo and they want to push it away. But if you actually look at it, wait, I think everyone can relate to how much the moon moves the ocean. Like, tide is a real thing. That is true of all the other planets behind it. How could it not be? And so when we're born, there's a certain constellation. There's an orientation of where the moon is, where the sun is, where, Saturn, all the different planets. That is going to impact our experience of being in a human body. It's our imprint. It's our imprint that's going to set out the certain themes for us to learn about in this life. We can't change that. We can't run from it. We were tattooed with certain ingredients that we are here to learn about.
So good. And just, I love the connection of the practical with the woo-woo.
Yeah.
I just love that so much because it all fits, you know? Mike, how do you help men learn to stay present instead of shutting down or becoming defensive?
There's 3 pillars that I take every man through when I work with them in my 6-month containers. And the first stage is initiation, the second is integration, and the third is inspiration. The initiation phase is where I bring men into what I call the descent. That's where we go do shadow work. That's where we go into the places of already lived experience that we talked about that the nervous system expresses. That's the tangible daily life dynamics of what's playing out really in your home. What happens when your partner says this? What happens for you? That gives me the information to go back and bring a man through initiation, which is going back into those places, them getting the relational ingredients, the safety for their body to start to process all of that stuck energy. And then what happens in initiation, this is true of any initiation, is when we go into that tension, if we face it head on, there's some sort of breakthrough that happens. So when a man's on a hunt, as an example, this was the old ancient way of initiation, boys would be modeled and mentored into becoming a hunter and a man. And then eventually his initiation is, now you're ready, you go off and do a solo hunt. Hits all these obstacles and he doesn't have the help and support. And it's terrifying. And he goes through that. And then usually there's a moment of the hunt where he feels his power. He gets some sort of insight of what to do in a place where he's, tracking this animal, and then he gets it. Because he got the insight, he got the clarity, he got the aha moment, and then he was able to execute it. So the initiation in a man is, if they go back and process their past, they'll get an aha, an insight. Then we move into integration. Integration is taking the aha and the insight and then learning, how do we actually weave this into the man that you're meant to become? Because masculine energy is the energy of becoming. So practically, great. Now that you got your insight and aha, how does this change your behavior? What do we need to schedule in your life that will make sure you are becoming the man you're now meant to be, that you're meant to be because of that breakthrough? And then accountability and integration. It's what I call warrior energy. We bring in the accountability where I get to guide and model and mentor that man into the experience of him actually becoming it. When he does that, we naturally then spiral into the third phase of inspiration. A man who integrates his already lived experience will start to have these like heart explosions, synchronicities. He'll start to see number alignments on his clock, like 444 and 1111. And then he's like, what's happening? Like, what is this? It's like spirit is speaking to you. Life is speaking to you. And every man's version is different. I have a client that he sees eagles whenever he's in these contemplations of, life, what should I do here? And then an eagle flies by and he gets this huge activation and this clarity of the next steps he should take. And when he follows it, magic happens, like opportunities happen. He's able to meet his partner in a new way. And so that's the phase that a man will evolve into, is living from a place of inspiration. I call it it's the phase of magic. Life is meant to be magical, but if we don't integrate the density and the weight of our already lived experience, we can't even make contact or see the light that is everywhere around us. Those messages, signs, and signals are all there, but there's blinders on because the initiation's missing. So what I take men through is through that sequence of that process is initiating, moving into integration so that they can live a place of inspiration, which the byproduct of that is presence. Then a man can be present with his already lived experience. That's where he's taking responsibility for it in the medium of brotherhood. The thing that I'm offering is the thing that most men are disconnected from. And then through that, now he's able to offer more. Now he can go hold space for his partner. Now he can orient his business in a new way that's in service to humanity, not just for, financial targets.
Mike, you mentioned somatic rituals as a way to rebuild safety in relationships. What are some practices couples can use to reconnect after conflict?
Well, the thing that I'd say is not just after conflict, I'd say to interrupt conflict. Courtney and I, support couples in what we call the sacred we. And so I'll give you the practice that we teach and guide all our couples in our signature program. And that is the golden rule is connection before communication. Couples get stuck in the communication and they conflict and it stacks and then it just keeps stacking over time. If a couple can learn how to notice when that's happening and interrupt it and go back to what creates the felt sense of connection before picking up the communication and before picking that conversation back up, they are going to experience a whole juicy new reality of what relationship is meant to feel like. And so the practical piece that couples can do is when you're in a conflict, be the one. Like if you're a man listening to this, there's nothing sexier than interrupting whatever it is that's happening that's creating disconnection. Slow down your pace by 3 times of what you want to move at. Women are feeling oriented. So slow it down 3 times and say, hey, God, it really matters what's happening here. And I want to hear you, but would you be open to going into the living room and just sitting on the couch, looking in each other's eyes and just breathing together? And it's lead her into that space. And then together, the couple boundary, the part that wants to say the thing. And it's just sit there and breathe, co-regulate. Co-regulation is the ultimate antidote to any fight or flight survival going on in the body. Because anytime we're in conflict, our brain just isn't working well. That's the oversimplified truth. It's not in the prefrontal cortex. Things are just freaking out in there, and it's actually making up what it's seeing. It's been studied and proven that when we're in a fully activated state of our brain, it will actually change what we are perceiving in front of us. So many couples think that their partner's making that gnarly face and their brain is making that experience to try to get them away from the thing that's happening. So maybe a look that's, and for any of you that aren't watching the video of this, I'm making a face here, is maybe the look is like this, but they're perceiving it as this. That's what the brain is doing. And so we need to interrupt what the brain is trying to do that's creating disconnection and go co-regulate. It's the simplest, easiest thing. If you could just do that one thing regularly and practice it, you will be blown away at all the things you won't even have to process anymore, because you will feel safe in your body and you'll just feel the connection and the warmth and start to see your partner different. Because you're co-regulating, you're doing the biological thing. It's the thing we need. It's like a car that needs an oil change. You can't avoid oil changes. As a human being, guess what? You need co-regulation. So
Yeah.
cuddle.
Cuddle and stare into each other's eyes, baby.
Yeah.
Mm,
And I would just want to add one piece, and that's for the people who are
please.
single. Find someone safe enough to co-regulate with regularly. Something that I do is I have a whole group. I do men's work. I've been doing it for 10 years. And I have my inner circle, my pack of men, my brothers. And when we hang out, we cuddle. There's no person that doesn't need it. And it takes so much damn strength and courage to be able to do that with another man. Whatever gender you are, just find someone that you feel safe enough to move through all that discomfort, take the risk, be edgy, be awkward together, to start to watch your nervous system unfurl and melt into, oh my God, this feels so good. Oh my God, why haven't I been doing this for the last 20 years of my life? You will feel a significant shift.
Oh, I love that so much. Get a cuddle buddy.
Get a cuddle buddy.
Get a cuddle
Depending
buddy.
where you live, there's cuddle puddle groups. So
There's certainly Los Angeles. You'll find them at every street corner.
Make sure you read the fine print of like, is
right?
it
Please.
or is it?
You talk about sacred relationship. What does that actually look like in the day-to-day reality of a partnership?
I'll first share one of the greatest quotes that I've ever heard. And I'm so sad because I don't even remember what spiritual person I heard this from, so I can't even give them credit, but it really landed for me. And it is when they said, true spirituality is moving at the pace of the body. That landed for me. The reason that landed for me is, oh yeah, if I can't honor this thing, I can't force healing. Like if I cut myself open, I can't think of how
Right.
unspiritual it is to be like, come on, fucking body, heal. Like
Heal, come on.
we got shit to do. But talk about the ultimate spiritual practice, because what is spirituality? It is a practice to bring our virtue into our embodied lived experience. How do we bring the divinity that we're all connected to, the wise, the wisdom, where we know everything, the woo-woo? How do we bring the woo-woo down into this body, to this experience where it's felt and integrated into how we're showing up as a person? That's the ultimate spirituality. It's honoring whatever's needed to be able to bring that down into this thing and do the inspirational. And Wayne Dyer talked about it, like inspiration is in spirit. So spirituality is learning how to embody the divinity that we get these moments of, these glimpses of. There's a biological honoring. So when we look at the day-to-day life and relationship, what does sacred relationship look like? It's a pretty confusing concept if people haven't heard that. Well, when we take that piece we just explored, is we need to move at the pace of connection. Sacred relationship is moving at the pace of connection, starting to learn and track. Whoa, we're going into that, that younger part of our brain. We're now perceiving that you're the enemy. We're losing it. I'm losing. My body's remembering the history. Another way you can remember this is anything hysterical is historical. Anything hysterical is historical. Anything that's out of proportion to what's actually happening in front is just trauma remembering. Sacred relationship is being in the practice to being in each other's care of our nervous systems and learning what's needed to stay connected to ourselves and to each other. Because sacred relationship is this. It's using the medium of the relationship for our own awakening. Sacred relationship is using the medium of the relationship itself for our own awakening. And another way of looking at awakening, some people might be sitting there, Mike, what the hell is awakening? Maturity. Expanding into higher perspectives, getting access to what I talked about earlier of the getting connected to magic and synchronicities. That's awakening, where we start to see, oh, heaven isn't some place I go to when I die. It's what I'm in the practice of creating for myself right now for the life that I am living presently by integrating all the sacred material, which is trauma that we all have had. Everyone's got their own version. When we integrate it, we liberate and we start to have the aha. Oh my God, wait, life is amazing. How does it get any better than this? God, this is the lovemaking is deep and rich. The magic and opportunities. This person just contacted me out of nowhere. Oh my God, I just got a check in the mail. What the hell? It's like that comes from being in the practice of sacred relationship, because it means we're honoring the pace that we need to move at to stay connected to it all.
So, Mike, what does healthy masculine devotion actually feel like in the body? And how can we recognize it when we're on the receiving end of it?
I don't know why my brain goes to this. Any men that are listening might go, oh, totally. There's this documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he was asked his felt sense and experience of working out. He's like, are you kidding me? It's so good. It's like I pump the weights. I feel good in my body and it's like I'm coming. And so I go home and I have sex with my wife and I'm coming there, and I go to the gym and I'm coming there. I'm just coming and coming everywhere. And I don't know why that comes up, but it's like that's what the experience is in my body when I'm in presence. It feels like I'm coming. It feels so relieving, liberating. It feels pleasurable. It's satisfying. My chest expands. My breath deepens. I get tingles. I get shivers. I get to feel another person's heart in my body. and share emotion together, the emotional intimacy that gets exchanged is incredible. It's the most pleasurable thing I think I've ever experienced is when I'm in the present experience of myself with another person. And how another person knows that they're in the proximity to presence is you named it at the very beginning. And you can check this out if this doesn't feel accurate. But when you said, when we had our like pre-call, you're like, oh, you just felt this sense of safety. When we're in proximity to presence, we settle, we feel safe, because that person isn't off in some other reality that isn't about what's happening right now. And then our nervous system can feel that. And then it drops all its defense strategies because it's just thirsty and hungry for safety. That's how it feels to be in proximity to it. It's the part that does what all those coping strategies do. The marijuana, the porn, the doom scrolling. Being in proximity to presence just kind of helps us feel like everything's okay.
Everything's groovy, baby.
Yeah. And I'm just going to
Yeah.
lean in, and I don't want this to end.
You just nailed on the head what I'm craving in my life is safety, 100% safety.
Me too. And we all are. That's the whole crazy thing. We all really, when we go back to the biological truth of who we are, we all want the same thing. We all want to feel safe in these bodies and enjoy the experience that we're having while we're here.
Yeah.
It's about as simple and true as it gets. And so we may as well be allies because we're all on the same spaceship hurling through outer space. It's Earth. And we are all brothers and sisters. And so why not learn how to be in each other's care so that we can all feel safer? And then that lead to us just enjoying the ride.
Mike, if you had to leave our listeners with one truth about masculinity, devotion, and love, what would it be?
If you're a man listening to this, there's so much compassion in my heart for whatever position that you're in the development of man. It's hard to be a man. There's a lot that we get projected onto because of the patriarch, because of the places where hurt has happened. And for a lot of men, there's so much internalized shame that prevents a man from doing anything that would actually be helpful. So just so much love and compassion if that's you, if you feel shame about the things that you're not showing up in, if you aren't feeling present, it all makes sense. If we look at your past and your history, it all makes sense. And the thing I want to leave you with is inside of you, you are biologically designed to devote to your mission, to devote to your partner, to devote to this relationship, to your human experience, your body, your thoughts, your emotions. When you learn how to devote, everything else gets better. Everything else starts to make sense. It's in the practice of devotion, not letting yourself get distracted or pulled off course, thinking or believing that your wife is a problem. The more you can just anchor yourself in that, you will melt all of the struggles and the pains, insecurities that you have, because that's your biological role. If you are a man, you have a penis. And if we look at that, it is meant to penetrate. Your work as a man is to penetrate life with your presence. So devote to being a man. And if you don't know how to do it, work with me, work with someone, find a man you feel curious about or safe with. Doesn't matter who it is. Find that person and devote to learning how to be a man and receive the biological truth that we all need. I need it. Mentorship, guidance, support, until you feel the inner experience of being the man.
Wow, Mike, this has been such a powerful and unexpected and heart-opening conversation. I am so grateful for you and your wisdom to start us off on this conversation on relationships and love. What a perspective shift. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Such an honor. And thanks for letting me feel you and being able to have this conversation with you and for all the listeners. It's such a gift.
Mike, where can people find you if you'd like to be found?
Yeah, I definitely like to be found. And I'd say the easiest thing is, I have a gift for all of your listeners. That would be the easiest way, is just receive the gift that I have for you. I've created this, PDF that you can print off, slap it on the fridge, let it be a conversation starter for your significant other or for a friend in your life. And it's this sheet that highlights the difference between masculine and feminine essence. If we get to know what those are, we can create polarity. And so you can just go click, I'll give you the link. You can click on that, gives you that freebie, it pops you into my newsletter. And then that's where you'll be exposed to all my other offers and channels that you can go deeper if there's been resonance with what I've shared here today.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much again for being here. Mike, do you feel complete?
Yeah, so complete. Yeah, thank you. Grateful.
Me too. Very grateful.
So the thing that stayed with me with this episode is that the thing that all of us are craving at the end of the day is safety. I mean, we're not looking for perfection or performance. We're just looking for safety. And when we don't feel safe in our bodies or in our relationships, we just start coping. We disconnect, we overcompensate, we shut down, or we reach for something that gives us that feeling, even temporarily. But y'all, what this conversation opens up is a possibility that safety isn't something we have to chase. It's something we can build. And Seekers, next week, we're going to explore just that. Because I'll be joined by Dr. Kat Valentine, where we'll explore what non-monogamy and kink can teach us about communication, consent, and boundaries. And y'all, what I love about this next conversation is that it challenges the idea that there's only one way to do relationships, and instead shows us that no matter the structure, what actually creates connection is how we communicate, how we hold boundaries, and how we stay present with each other in real time. I'm Julienne Irons, and this is Perspective Shifts for Healing with the Hanged Woman. Seekers, if this episode inspired you, please like, share, and follow so we can keep these conversations going. Until next time, hang in there, Seeker.